Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast. This is Bruce Hutchin, host and executive producer. Each week you will hear tips, techniques, strategies, and personal stories from some of the best and funniest whitetail hunters in North America. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you do, tell a friend on social media. If not, tell me and I'll make it better. Thanks for listening, folks. This is Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast, episode number 410. We're heading out to LA today, and a good friend of mine, Sam Ayres, and Sam has a podcast called Living Country in the City. And how did a Southern California LA boy get into country? Well, that's what the show's all about. But even more than that, it's about his passion for hunting, tips, techniques, strategies, and what he's looking for, and the importance of getting in shape. And along the way, he's going to talk about how he chats with his neighbors there in LA because he's a country boy. And we got a great story coming up about his Jeep. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Sam Ayres, Living Country in the City.
Yep.
So we're going to start off the show. Sam's a rookie hunter, folks. Okay, he lives in Seal Beach. I just stole some of your thunder. If you don't know where that is, that's in Southern California, just out south of Long Beach. So let's give.
That's where I was born. Actually, now I live right in the middle of Hollywood. I am.
No way.
I'm right on Hollywood and Vine, actually. Right by the Walk of Fame, all of the touristy area, which, to be completely honest, drives me up the wall. But
I didn't realize that.
I'm right in LA now. Yeah, Seal Beach is my hometown.
Okay, when we're prepping for the show, I thought he was still living in Seal Beach, but I was wrong, folks. Not the first time, not the last time. So, Sam, here you are, literally in Hollywood. If everybody's been to LA, they know what the heck's going on there. So, how's a guy get the passion to become a rookie hunter?
Well, it's a bit of a long story, but to not draw it out too much, I used to be far from anything you'd consider a hunter or country or anything like that. Camping and fishing were stuff I did growing up, kind of as part of vacation, and that was about the extent of it. And I was, working in advertising, driving my little Roadster convertible, wearing suits, and through a series of circumstances, and I just started kind of changing interests and getting more into some of this stuff I did growing up, and shooting bows and guns and spending more time in the outdoors. And through that, my whole lifestyle started changing. And I really got involved in hunting, really started getting interested and excited about it. But the problem is, I live in the middle of Los Angeles, and it's not the most conducive environment to all of these outdoor endeavors all the time. And so, I had a lot of friends that would ask me, I'd go out and shoot my bow, and they'd look at me, they'd be like, Sam, where you go, where do you go shoot your bow? I didn't know you could do that in LA. And I'd kind of tell them, or, I go line dancing. I love country music. And so I'd go line dancing, and I'd have people that they have line dancing in LA. I'd be like, yeah, you just got to go over here. And so many people asking me this stuff. I'm like, I should start like a blog or a website or something, and an Instagram. And that's really where all of this came from. And this living country in the city persona, kind of came from, was just honestly the stuff I love to do, and people were catching glimpses of it and wanted to learn more. And so I figured, why not put it out there for everyone and try and kind of demystify a lot of all this stuff I love.
Hey, thanks for that. And we talked about being a rookie hunter and the challenges. We touched on a little bit of it, but why do you want to jump in and get your butt kicked by the mountain?
There's just something about being in the wilderness. I've always loved, I grew up since the time I was 3. I grew up going out to the mountains, going camping, the big trees, just the peacefulness of it. I've always had a love for the mountains. So there's some of that in there, and I mean, there's a lot to it. It's the self-sufficiency of being able to, take my own game and get out there and not have to rely on the magical Walmart fairy to provide my meat for me. Um, it's there's a lot of that. There's a lot of I mean, I don't know if I want to call it this, but male pride and but not in the bad way, but like taking pride in doing something and being able to be self-sufficient and go out there and overcome a challenge that is something that not a lot of people in the world do anymore. I mean, as hunters, I'm sure it always seems like there's too many hunters on the mountain, but um, it's in the grand scheme of things, there's not a lot of people that go out there and take on this challenge. And um, I love that idea. I love the thought of being out in the woods and really going back to those primal roots that we all have. We're all products of hunters. You go back far enough and we all have, one way or another, we all have ancestors that had to hunt, that had to take game. And there's something special about connecting with your roots and connecting with those primal instincts, if you will.
Yeah, and I was thinking, and you touched on it. What's your elevator pitch? You're in Hollywood. I mean, what is it? Walk of the Stars or something?
Walk of Fame, yeah.
Yeah, Walk of Fame, Rodeo Drive. I mean, this is the real stuff. You can see Lamborghinis, you can see A-listers all the time. I mean, you're just going to bump into them. So if you're in an elevator someplace in Hollywood and somebody says, "Sam, I'm listening to your show. What's up with your show and hunting? Tell me about why you want to hunt." I mean, I don't get it. So what do you say to them?
Well, there's a couple of things. It's one, especially when you're talking to people in Hollywood nowadays, everything's organic. You got to have healthy organic food and vegetables and this and that. And it's, no GMOs. And I tell them, I'm like, first and foremost, I want to know where my food's coming from. I want to know that it's healthy, it's organic, that there's no weird things in it. And you will not find a more organic way to get your meat than walking out into the forest and taking it yourself. You will not find leaner, healthier meat than, elk and deer. And it's just, and that goes a long way. And I think we're going to see among the hipsters and a lot of millennials, we're going to see hopefully a resurgence of hunting because of that. And then I also tell them, the old adage, hunting is conservation. When it comes down to it, hunters are the ones that help balance out populations. They donate, what is it, over $1 billion a year to conservation causes, or something crazy like that. I'm probably way off on the number,
It's
but
huge.
yeah, it's just massive amounts, and it comes down to, as a hunter, I love wild animals. I love the outdoors. I think it's an amazing place to be, and I have this incredible respect for wild animals. And it's that weird dichotomy of, yeah, we love wild animals, but we want to go kill them. um, but I have a respect for them, and as part of that, I want to see them thrive. And you know what? They don't have the entire United States to roam free anymore. We have encroached on their lands, and because of that, we have to help manage their populations, keep them in balance, keep the predators in balance. Um, make sure the herds are the right size to be sustained by the land. And there's so much more to it, but really, it's out of a respect for the animals and wanting to see them thrive that I also hunt. Um, and then I tell them there's just nothing better than being in the outdoors. There's nothing better than being miles away from, well, hopefully miles away from the nearest person. And just, I'm excited for that time when I first get to see that elk just bugling right in my face. I'm so pumped about that. It's all I can think about on any morning or evening. It's what I wake up thinking about, is what I go to bed thinking about, is hunting. So I don't know if that was a really long elevator ride. We have very tall buildings here, and here in Los Angeles. So um, I took a little bit of liberty with the elevator pitch, but
Yeah, you did. They usually last about 90 seconds. I hunt because it's organic. There you go. Next time to action. It's real simple. I hunt because it's organic. You like organic food, right? What are they going to
exactly.
say? Deer in the headlights? I don't think so. They're going to go, well, of course.
That's usually what I start with, and I get that passed, and then I'll usually give the short pitch about conservation as long as I can until they start glazing over.
Yeah, and folks, you're going to be able to listen to this podcast a lot of places. But one thing, understand that hunters put in money to the Pittman and Robinson, and so it's a tax on everything sold hunting outdoors gear, and so we are supporting state agencies by our money, and it goes to the government. Plus, it's distributed via each state that has hunting licenses, and that's billions of dollars, billions of
Well, and
dollars.
one of the important things to note about that is this wasn't just a bunch of state fish and game agencies that came together and decided we want to levy this tax. This was lobbied for by hunters themselves. This was lobbied for by people like us. And I think that's one of the important distinctions. This wasn't just some nameless group of people that decided to do this. These were hunters that lobbied for it themselves. What other group in the world would lobby to have a tax put on themselves? I cannot think of very many that would do something like that. And so I think that's always an important thing. It wasn't just the government handing down this mandate. This was hunters that lobbied for it.
Okay, elevator pitch, conservation and Pitnam Robinson. Do you know what organic is? Well, of course I know what organic is. Pitnam Robinson, not so much. Well, and with a little Google research, you can see the amount of money. Say, hunters are the only ones that ever put a tax on themselves. Why? Because we want to sustain. We want to be stewards. And folks, I'll throw it right out there. Being stewards is part of the Bible. That's part of why I believe we're on planet Earth is to be stewards of everything that we've been given. Your thoughts?
I am a firm believer in that. And I'm a member of a lot of these groups, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Mule Deer Foundation, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, all doing fantastic things. I really believe that even aside from, what comes from our tag fees and taxes and things like that, um, I'm doing my best to participate. And I think it's called 2% for conservation. I'm still building up to it. But the concept is, if I remember correctly, and I'm probably misquoting, but you want to give 2% of conservation, 2% of your time every year to conservation causes, and then 2% of your income to whether that's donating to Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation or Backcountry Hunters and Anglers or these different groups, or whether there's many ways to do it, but it's kind of a commitment to donate 2% of your time to conservation. And I think it's an important thing, and we love the outdoors. We love being able to do what we do, and unless we are those stewards of that, it's going to end with us. There's not going to be hunting for future generations. Um, if I don't have kids now, but if I did in the future, the first thing I'm going to do is put a bow in their hands, and hopefully they'll be out hunting squirrels and jackrabbits as kids. But I want that to continue, even if I don't have kids. For posterity, just for future generations. I think it's an important thing, and I think it's our responsibility to take care of that.
Yeah, and folks, you make $100,000. That's only 2 grand. You work 2,000 hours on average. 2% of that is what, 40 hours?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so
one work
it's
week worth
nothing.
of work out of your entire year, to go volunteer, to you know go to some of these events, like some of these train to hunt events or some of these archery challenge events where they have a lot of conservation messages, and it's fun stuff. How can you say you don't like be? How can you say you love being in the outdoors and then not want to go do this stuff? It's not like it's tedious office work or anything that you're doing. I mean, you could go volunteer to go file papers for someone, I'm sure, but usually these projects are just awesome, fun stuff. Go help Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation put in some tankers, some water tankers or something uh, for elk out in Arizona or something like that, or in Utah. Like, how cool is that?
Well, it is, and my wife would attest that in my throughout my days, I'm a life member of a lot of organizations that you're also a member of, and she said if you just had that money back, I go, what? What would change? We just have more money in the bank, and I smile at that because I've had a lot of fun at the national conventions and a lot of opportunities to
Oh yeah.
support them. But if you make it, give it away. I've always been, uh, a believer in giving back to what you're passionate about, and we're like minded on that because I've been lucky to be hunting, since I was 10 years old. So, um, it was just in my blood, and going back to the early people, and I think of the Inuits up in Kujawa below Hudson Bay. And I'm sitting with an elder one time, and he says, if the caribou come, we live. If they don't come, we die. And it was simple life. That was their whole life. And they came across the land bridge from Mongolia and Russia and that. And you think about that. That's our heritage, folks. You can accept it or reject it, but it's still there. And with that, I'm going to switch up. And how can people get a hold of you, Sam?
Pretty easy to find. It's Living Country in the City on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me at livingcountryinthecity.com. All the info's up there. That's a good place to check out if you want to find me. Twitter is a little different because I had to shorten it. It's LVNG Country. Um, but you can check out the website. That's a good central resource pretty much for everything I do. It has the podcast, has the blog, which, to be honest, there's not a ton there. But yeah, I've got everything you need to find up there. There's some old pictures. I really need to update these pictures.
Yeah, you get Carhartt on. You're never going to get sponsored by Carhartt, or maybe it will.
that was probably the first camo jacket I ever purchased. I do like that picture though. I will admit, I
That's
love that
cool.
picture.
Except your jeans. I don't know why you get jeans on.
I did not own a single pair of camo pants when I did that photo shoot. But I've learned a lot about gear since then. And I laugh at I kind of cringe at a lot of this stuff, but I have to laugh because my whole purpose behind doing this was to document my progress and really, as I said, demystify this for a lot of people that may have kind of a similar spirit like me, but be living in the city. And so however much I cringe at this, I have to just remind myself, this is a natural part of growing as a hunter. And I mean, what are my grandparents and their parents went out into the forest in red plaid and jeans and with a fuzzy hat, and that's how they went and hunted. So I shouldn't be too hard on myself for not having all the latest gear, but it's I think important to show your progress and be real with who you are. Like I don't get me wrong, I want to be some hardcore hunter, but right now I'm not. I'm still learning and I'm planning my first elk hunt. I'm excited to do that, but you know, first and foremost, I want to make sure I'm just portraying myself honestly and being who I am, not trying to portray myself as someone that I'm not. Um, I am this little city wannabe redneck rookie hunter, and that's who I am, who I'll be, and that's what I try and show.
Well, Sam, I want you to, I'm trying to get this. That is my first deer hunt. We drove back in the day. We used to drive deer. So we would take 10, 15 bucks. They're not huge bucks, they're basket bucks. But if you look close enough, I got jeans on, so don't feel so bad.
There we go. There we
And
go.
that's how we started. Okay, folks. I like to share information. The reason you don't wear blue jeans hunting, one, they they don't wick water away. They just soak water. Two, the noisy as heck because of just the fabric. And so we have thousands, of opportunities. But if you want to be stealthy, you don't wear the blue jeans. You can wear them any other time. I wear them my cowboy boots, my big buckles, and all that good stuff. But blue jeans, if they're soft, you can still have blue jean material or likewise. But that's why you don't wear blue jeans, and that's why hunters, the Knight brothers out in Maine, they wore wool. That's all they wore, red plaid wool, and
Hmm.
that's how they hunted in a floppy hat, and they that's how they hunted. And so wool's been around forever, and it's a great tool. I know one company, Proas, they use Morel or Morel. No, it's not the
Merino.
yeah, merino. Thank you very much. They use merino wool, and that's some of the best wool you can get today for a lot of reasons. So check that out. And hey,
Oh
I
yeah.
see you got Bowhunter Brotherhood hat. What's up with Pat and Rob?
Oh my gosh, I love those guys. I they were my guests for my third episode of my podcast. They just, honestly, I found them on Instagram and I'm like, bow hunter brotherhood. I like bow hunting. I'm gonna follow these guys. It was kind of a random call out, and I just kind of start commenting on their stuff online, and we got to know each other, and we kind of mutually found out, okay, well, we're both city guys, doing this hunting and this country stuff, and we really connected over that, and I had them on the podcast, and I've just been fast friends with those guys ever since. They've been awesome partners for me. I I love their gear. I just absolutely love their gear. I wear it pretty much every day. I'm actually gonna probably this hat's looking a little sad at this point. I'm probably gonna need to order another one soon. But yeah, hoping to get out to New York in the next few months and go meet them in person and maybe sling some arrows at some whitetails.
And folks, Pat and Rob, if you haven't checked them out, Bullhunter Brotherhood. Rob works for Sony Music in New York City, and Pat just happened to be a professional soccer star that he got bumped off the team because he got hurt. So he's riding the pine, and that's if you listen to his show coming up on Whitetail Roundup, you're going to find all about it. But he became passionate about whitetails, and yeah, we all love the hunt, but it's being there. And as I call it, a place called there. And once you get there, there's nothing like it in the world.
No, absolutely. It's I think they even say it on their website. It's there's something about being in the outdoors that just connects you with this whole brotherhood, and it's not just releasing that arrow at the your ideal big game animal. Sometimes it's just that moment when you unzip your tent in the morning and you got your jet boil with your coffee and you're just sitting there watching the sunrise. There's a little bit of fog or frost on the ground, and you know it's it's just being part of the outdoors. You know, there's kind of a thread that runs through all of us and connects us, and I know that's kind of what they like to represent. So
And they represent it well. Hey, I got to do something. Kenny Maynard's a good friend of mine. I met him through social media. He's been on the show, and we talk, weekly. And hey, Kenny, thank you for connecting me with Sam Ayres Living Country in the city.
no, absolutely. Thanks for this, Kenny. I'm having a blast.
So anyway, okay, perfect segue. Living country, not in the city, in downtown LA. That's strong. Talk to me about it.
It's weird because actually today coming into the office, I have personal training today, and my trainer's been wanting to see how I move with my backcountry pack-ons because I'm prepping for uh, hunting season this year, and so I got to planning to carry a 60-pound pack, and my trainer kind of wants to see how I move with it and do some exercise with it. So I loaded it up with some sandbags and walk in. I take the metro to work every day, and so I'm got my big old camouflage pack on and my Bowhunter Brotherhood hat. And typically I'm just wearing a plain black tee today, but normally I've got some hunting tee on. And, I'm cruising, hop on the metro, and you just see all these people kind of like glancing off to the side, like trying not to stare. And they're like, oh, that's the other. I always carry a knife on my belt, a buck knife, like a straight blade buck knife. And people just sit and stare at that thing like I'm a crazy person. And it's the funniest. I just get the biggest kick out of it. I actually, one of these days, I'm gonna have a buddy film, and I'm gonna sneak onto the metro in full camo and start calling for elk. Start doing
Oh
my
my
elk
goodness,
bugles.
that'll go viral. That'll go
Oh my gosh,
flipping viral.
I really want to do it, but and I drive a big old Jeep Wrangler that's like lifted and has like, I got the Bowhunter Brotherhood sticker really
You
big
got
in
a
the
picture of
back.
that?
And
Do you have a picture you can share?
yeah, let me see if I can pull one up here.
Yeah, because
But yeah,
Dirty Diane or something. What's the name of that
yeah,
sucker?
her name is Dirty Diana. She is.
We won't
Um,
go there, Sam. I know what you're thinking. We ain't going
yeah,
there.
there's some appropriate reasons she's named Dirty Diana, and there's some less appropriate reasons. But she's got the big old steel bumper stinger on the front, and you know, um, you can kind of see it in the back there. I don't know. I got a good picture when I went up into the woods not too long ago. But she, I mean, gosh, she is just the opposite. Albeit Jeeps are kind of making a comeback now. People love them, but they all love the brand new, JK models, the newer models, and not everyone's into these older grungy '90s models like I have. And I every time I drive it, I think something's about to rattle off of it, and um, but man, I
So did
love
you
it.
find a picture? Yeah, just throw one
Uh,
up. Whatever you got.
Yeah, here we go. Here's one of her at the shop. Let me
Yeah, just go screen share on your right side.
all right, let's see. Pulling it onto the I've got two screens right here, so I'm pulling it onto the
Okay.
correct screen. Here we go. It's pulling up. We're gonna share screen one here. And that's her that's her at the shop. Um back when oh gosh, I had to get her smogged, and it was just bad news.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
a bit of a challenge. Let's see. I thought I had a better. Oh gosh, there's me without a shirt on. Uh, let's see. I thought I had one somewhere around here somewhere, but oh here we go. Here's the good one. Here's the good one that I was looking for. I took her out to just above Lake Castaic. It's about an hour and a half outside of Los Angeles, and I was gonna go do some. It was the end of hunting season, and I was gonna just see if I could make the best of it. Keep an eye out for some black bear and maybe some deer. There were some archery only tags left, and so I drove up, and it had been raining. Completely forgot to check the elevation. So I get up, and of course I have no snow gear with me, and it is just sheeting snow. I mean, it was just destroying. And so I go up, and I'm splashing through puddles and stuff like that are half frozen. And I wake up the next morning, and that's what my Jeep looked like. She was just frozen over, had icicles hanging down from the bottom there. And but yeah, it was a good time. But that's Dirty Diana. She's my baby. Probably put more money into her than I've actually ever bought her for. But yeah, I drive her around, and I just get these side glances of, I'll pull up next to someone. I usually have the windows open or the doors off, and I'm blaring country music. And my boss actually, one of the bosses at my company, we were out. I do music festivals, and so in April every year they move us out to the desert for two of our music festivals. And I was in I was driving out of our staff parking one time, and I had the doors and the top off, and I'm just, bumping country music really loud, full blare. And apparently one of my bosses tried to chase me down on his bicycle so he could get video of me just as redneck as humanly possible. But
That's great.
it's just fun being kind of being this country guy in the middle of the city and being as ridiculous as possible and getting those looks and getting those stares.
Uh, so, we were going to segue into living country in the city, and we just did because, you gave us a good intro to you know, your lifestyle and how it changed from, surfer dude down by the beach. And I don't know if you ever had long hair. I never did, when I was in Southern California. Actually, I lived in San Clemente and commuted to Mountain View with a company in the .com industry. And I had a great ride. And I surfed. I had a quiver boards and I surfed wherever I wanted to and hunted also. And it was a great life until it blew up, as everybody knows. That happened to thousands of, or if not millions of people, but it was a fun ride. And so I was living in San Clemente, and just like Sam, the challenges. So let's talk about those challenges of being a hunter in suburbia.
You know, there's a lot of stuff, and namely, as a bow hunter, one of the biggest challenges I run into is I live in a 450 square foot apartment, so shooting down the hallways, pulling a Cameron Haynes and trying to shoot in my gym or my hallway is out of the question. I've thought about trying to set something up in the little area behind my apartment, but I think my landlord would lose his mind. So really, I had to find the nearest archery range, and I drive out. I drive a half an hour. I basically, to be able to go shoot my bow, I have to wake up at about 4 in the morning so I can, get breakfast, get ready, get out, and get to the archery range the second it opens at sunrise because it's an outdoor archery range. So that involves me getting up at 4 in the morning and getting there, getting a full couple hours of shooting in, and then getting home, getting a shower, and getting ready for work and getting into work on time. There's the limitations of, I went recently, was out in Utah and went out for an event, and the Grady Bowman were doing a hike. He was doing a hike with a group of guys, and that's not crazy high. It's about 7,000 feet. It's not 10, 12,000 feet or anything, but we were up in Salt Lake City, and I'm used to training at sea level or below sea level. I do a lot of running out in the desert, and that's, well below sea level. Um, so getting up to 7,000 feet is all of a sudden a bit of a shock to the system, to say the least. And, a lot of people have different theories on how you can prepare for that, but there's not a ton of options as far as preparing yourself for high altitudes where these elk live. You know, those are a couple of the bigger things, but it's just generally you can do all the stuff that everyone else can do. You're just going to have to work a little bit harder to do it. Um, I can get out and shoot my bow, but I can't just walk out into my backyard like a lot of people have the luxury of doing. I can train, but I'm going to have to train a lot harder because I'm going to be huffing and puffing a lot more than most people when it comes to that elevation. Um, I don't have access to quite as many of these stores. We got a Bass Pro not too far away, but really I don't have as much access to a lot of outdoor stores and things like that you might find in other towns. So it's really, there's a lot of planning involved. There's a lot of, and then there's a lot of misunderstandings. People just, you run into a lot more opposition, a lot more pressure. I wear hunting clothes around all the time. I'll wear a camo jacket, or I wear my bow and our brotherhood hat, or, you know, um, yeah, one of my favorite shirts from Cam Hanes, it just says "I eat elk" across the front of it, and admittedly, sometimes I do that just to stir the pot a little bit because it's fun and I like causing controversy a little bit more than I should. But really, it's you run into a lot more opposition. Uh, I will say though, I've been surprised by how interested and how understanding people are. And, I think when you break those notions that hunters are more than just beer breaking bubbas or beer chugging bubbas, that you can really reach out to a lot of people that just may not have understood it. There's some people that will never change their minds in a million years, and those are typically the people that are going on Instagram and leaving you death threats because you killed a coyote. Um, but really, I feel like there's a lot of super solid people out there that will understand when you explain it to them right. And so, there's definite challenges, but there's exciting moments like that in the city when you get to see. And I think our community out here can often be a lot tighter and a lot more dedicated. Just because I'm not trying to talk crap about anyone in any other state, but I think we tend to take things for granted a little bit less. Somebody that can walk out and has the mountains in their backyard and can go for a hike that results in 1,500 feet in elevation change without having to drive more than 10 minutes. Um, it's easy to take that for granted. Versus me I'm not even sure how long it would take me to drive to get to somewhere where I could do 1,000 feet in elevation gain
Mount
in a short
Whitney.
hike. So
Mount
yeah,
Whitney. How long on 285? How long from LA? I forget because I used to go from San Diego up to Mammoth.
let's see.
How far is that?
To Mount Whitney.
And tell the people, give them some backstory on Mount Whitney while we're even talking about that.
Well, to be honest, I don't know a ton about Mount Whitney.
How high is it?
Darn if I know. I'm looking at the map right now. It would take me about 4 hours to get to Mount Whitney. That's not too bad. That's just above Sequoia.
Right,
I haven't been to Mount Whitney since I was a kid. I grew up going to Sequoia National Forest and Kings Canyon,
right.
um, which for people don't realize here in California we have so much public land. You think California, and most people just think like, the state of fruits and nuts. There's no hunters, nothing out there. Um, but really, we have a crazy amount of public land here in California, and we have some beautiful national parks, some beautiful state parks, and I grew up going to Kings Canyon, Sequoia, where we've got the giant trees. Kings Canyon, there's some beautiful waterfalls. The Kings River is just crazy. It's finally getting back up to a reasonable spot now that we have some real rain, but there's just we got some beautiful forests out here, and I take that for granted. I get so focused on going out of state and doing these out of state hunts that I forget just heck an hour drive. I could get there 45 minutes to an hour. I'm in the San Gabriel Mountains in Angeles National Forest. I'm in Los Padres National Forest, and there's some decent hunting. There's some beautiful landscape out there.
So it's 14,505 feet, and they got a great trail there. And that's what it looks like, folks. And you could say, well, I'm up in the Tetons. There's a lot of places that look like that. There's places in Colorado, places in Utah. Well, there's places in all the Rocky Mountain states that look like that. But it's tough. It's tough, inhospitable land because once you get over 10,000, kind of you can see the tree line here. That's 10,5, 11,000 feet, and it'll kick your butt. It'll kick your butt. That's
That's
for
for sure,
sure.
but there's no better way to get your butt kicked.
Nope.
I will take a mountain trail over a step machine in a gym any day.
Yeah, because right now I'm working on a treadmill, getting ready for elk hunting, and I have a step thing. I start with 10 minutes. I go from zero incline to 30 degrees, from 1 miles per hour to 2 miles per hour. At 30 degree incline, I'm going 2 miles an hour for 30 seconds and then I go back. I mean, and folks, I'm getting off um, my age here, but I'll challenge anybody, and I've got to get somebody to video me because it's hard doing that on a treadmill. But you go to 30 degrees even for 30 seconds, and you're going, oh my goodness. And some of the stuff Sam's gonna get into is greater than 30 degrees
I
incline.
mean, there's definite times when you are on your hands and knees, almost upright, trying to scramble up rocks. And I mean, like I said, I'm still planning my first elk hunt, but I've seen some of this terrain, and this is stuff that I wouldn't hike just without a pack, but thinking I'm going to do this with a bow and, a 40, 50, 60, I'm still working on my gear list, pound pack is just insane. And you know what? I love being insane. All it's, as I said before, it's all I can think about. I've got I've got elk fever, and I literally want nothing else other than to get out into these woods and start chasing bugles.
Yeah, here's what I'm looking for. Okay, I climbed a 14er because you can see the basin right off my left shoulder. There's sheep in there. There was a nice herd of ewes and lambs in there. I couldn't find a ram. So I climbed a
I'm not sure
14er.
if it's showing. All I'm seeing is a gray screen.
Oh, it didn't show. Okay, forget that. It was a great idea, but no, it's a good idea. It didn't come up, and I don't know why, but that's okay. Technology. But anyway, 14,006. So Mount Whitney is 14. It's the only 14er in the state of California. So you have everything you need. But you just have to get up there and leave at 3:30 and get up there at sunrise, get up the trailhead before 1,000 other people do, and then climb it.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, there's ways to do everything, you want to do out here. You just may have to drive a little bit further, wake up a bit earlier, and work a little bit harder to get it. And not taking anything away from anyone else that lives anywhere else. I'm not trying to say that they don't work hard, anything like that. I'm just saying in any situation when you don't have something as readily available, you're gonna have to find a way around it. And that's really there's no easy substitutes. And I appreciate that because, honestly, I like to think it's building that mental toughness that I'm also going to need. And that's something that's really hard to develop.
Yeah, the one thing I would say is that you have to be mental tough when everything else dies off and your legs don't want to go, your lungs are burning. I mean, you're just done. But then all you have to do is go 100 yards, get to that saddle, and right on the other saddle is a herd of elk, is a sheep, is a mountain goat, is the biggest mule deer buck you've ever seen. And you got to do it. And some guys will fold. There's no question about it. I know guys that spend thousands of dollars on a on a on a sheep hunt, an elk hunt in the high country, or a mule deer hunt, and they can't do the last 100 yards, 200 yards. They can't do it, and they walk away. And all they had to do was get there. And as I talked, I don't know if I mentioned this before. A place called There. You know, once you understand and you can push through that pain, um, and it is pain, folks. But then you become an elite person in the hunting world. And yeah, Cameron Hayes has made a brand of himself by just being a lead athlete. That's why I'm tied up with Wilderness Athlete, and you're tied up with Mountain Ops. So let's give a little shout out for Mountain Ops and tell the folks what they do for you.
Honestly, I met the guys over at Mountain Ops, just through being involved on social media. I reached out to talk about one of their programs, Operation Conquer Hunger. Uh, each purchase from Mountain Ops, feeds a child in need. And really, honestly, it's a great product. I love it. It doesn't replace good nutrition. It doesn't replace exercise. It's a supplement. That's all it is. But, it's helped me go a lot further and a lot harder than I thought I could with my training and with my exercise. It's helped keep my energy levels up. Fantastic product. I highly recommend it. You know, and you can check them out on my website, livingcountryinthecity.com/partners. I've got them. I've got the guys at Bowhunter Brotherhood up there. Um, great, bunch of great folks.
Hey, thanks for that. In living country, um, in the city, I remember I grew up. It was fun. John Sloan. I hope you get on his show soon because he came from Long Island as I did, and he killed the swamp donkey, which you can hear an episode coming up about how he killed the swamp donkey. Just a gorgeous whitetail, and he killed it out on Long Island, and it's a great story. But growing up in the city in Long Island, even back in the day, I hunted ducks all the time and got fish for stripers and got clams, and I was living in the country. I just didn't know it. And then I got out to school in Wisconsin, and all of a sudden, as you saw the picture earlier, folks, I was working a bar, and the bar owner said, "Hey, where are you going for Thanksgiving?" I said, "Well, I can't go home; it's too far." And so he invited me to the farm, and as I say, the rest is history. And I'll be hunting with the same guy on the same farm for the 51st year coming up this fall. So that's a hunting
Nice.
tradition, and Sam's making his hunting tradition, and so who's been some of the people that have pumped you up to get into the outdoors and become a hunter?
That's it's such a tough thing to say. I've there's been a lot of people, and it's been little bits from people over here and there. There's a guy I recently did a podcast with, Brett Russell. He goes by Backcountry Bow Hunter on Instagram, and he puts out just a super positive message. A really great guy, um, and he's not like a Rocky Mountain guy. He's not from the West. So a lot of what he does is he has to plan these travel trips out, similar to what I have to do. And so I really connect with that. Um, Gosh, there's just so many great people online. The Bowhunter Brotherhood guys have really been super encouraging for me in my journey. I mean, we've talked about Cam Haines already. That dude is, you kind of want to hate him. You just want to hate him, but you can't, because he's
I'm
like,
guilty of that. I'm guilty of that.
oh man. But he's, you expect him, you see him out there running and lifting and doing all of this, and you're like, oh, he's going to be a jerk. And then you listen to him talk, and you're like, this is the nicest, most encouraging, like, happiest guy in the world. There's just nothing to hate about him. And Christy Titus has been a good friend to me throughout all of this. She's been super encouraging. I've met, I mean, so many people, since I started doing this podcast who've just influenced me, got me pumped up. Um, there's some guys, Steve Ranella gets me super excited about, you know, eh, uh, hunting for anything, and cooking and eating, and the guys with Born and Raised Outdoors, they have this video clip. I think it's like called like 20 elk shots or something. It's, their best 20 shots with a bow on elk. And it's just, I watch that thing and I'm about ready to like run out of this office and buy a plane ticket out to the backwoods and just start. It just gets me ramped up. So it's hard to really point to any one person, but just all of these people have been super inspiring. I mean, I listen to tons of podcasts. And it's just, I constantly have one playing while I'm doing work or while I'm on the metro. And you know shout out to Whitetail Rendezvous. But I love listening to Gritty Bowman and Hunt Backcountry and the Rich Outdoors, Wired to Hunt. I mean, there's so much great content out there. Like, there's no reason to not be motivated to get out and hunt. And I get so excited. I get pumped every time I log into Instagram and see these videos and these posts, and helps keep me motivated because it's easy to get discouraged out here when I'm not surrounded by it quite as much. And so having access to that and these fantastic people is really a blessing and a bonus.
Well, we usually end the phone with the podcast with shout outs, and so we just had a couple, 90 seconds worth of shout outs. But let's get down and dirty. The people that are sponsoring you, the people on your site, the conservation groups that you support. I know Rocky Mount Foundation. Wallace Pate was a personal friend of mine. Now, every year they give away his memorandum for people who give back. That's what his award's all about. And so I've really been blessed to be around some people. I go back to Otto Knight and Harry Shear, who got me started in hunting. I mean, and I haven't stopped, and I don't intend to, not at all. But when you think about that, give us a shout out. You want to go? Want me to go back on your website, or do you want to do it?
Here I can pull it up here. Let's see.
And just screen share.
Yeah, let me hit this button. It's of course there we go. Now it's gone. It was going really slow. Share screen. Um yeah, no, you can you can really find all my partners on my website. They're all great folks. You can check it out at livingcountryinthecity.com/partners. Um, of course, Bowhunter Brotherhood, they're fantastic guys, and a lot of these guys you can get discounts from their stores if you check it out at livingcountryinthecity.com/partners. But Bowhunter Brotherhood, I love these guys. They have some awesome gear, especially if you're living in the city and you don't necessarily want to wear our typical redneck gear. Check them out. They've got some really good looking stuff. Elk101.com. Corey Jacobson is one of the most brilliant elk hunters around. 9-time elk calling champion. Um, Check out his course. You will learn more about elk hunting through this course. If you short of being in the field, there's nothing in my mind you can do to learn more about elk hunting and have it presented in an understandable way. You can get $20 off that course by using my link. City Roots and Boots. They're if you like music festivals, they've got some great gear to wear to music festivals. And then of course Mountain Ops. They are some fantastic supplements. They got some great stuff. These are kind of the nonprofits I tend to support: Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, Mule Deer Foundation, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, and then there's this group called Operation Pay It Forward. They try and take combat veterans that have come back home and get them into the outdoors, fishing, hunting, whatever their interest may be, and it's just another thing that really proves the healing power of the outdoors. So those are my shout outs. One last one, if you don't mind. I'm also doing a giveaway right now. If you go to livingcountryinthecity.com/2K, that's the number 2, the letter K, it'll pop up. I'm giving away a ton of gear. It's over $600 worth in prizes. Membership to Hunt and Fool, membership to Elk 101, memberships to Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers. There's gear from Mountain Ops, Bowhunter Brotherhood, got calls and stuff from Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. You can go to this page. It's super easy to enter. You just hop on Instagram, like the post, tag a couple of friends, and then fill out the entry form online. Super easy to do. I mean, you can see all of these are the prizes that you could win if you do this. Once I hit 2,000 followers on Instagram, I'll I'll pick a lucky winner. So that's pretty much
I don't know if I've
it.
entered yet. Did I enter? Do you know Whitetail Rendezvous?
You signed up for my email list. You didn't enter though, so you'll have to go. There's some good gear, man. You want to hop on that.
No, let's do it right now. Let's do it right now.
There you go. There you go.
Here, we'll do it right now. I'll show you how easy it is, folks. Oh, we don't want to
Here
go
you go.
Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
Okay, where do I go?
So you go to
Contest.
the.
Contest.
I actually think that link sadly is not working right now. So
Oh,
you,
dude, how do we get there? Partners and
I've got to go.
nonprofits.
I've got to go fix that. Click on. Just go to livingcountryinthecity.com slash the number two, the letter K.
Hey, folks, this is real, but that's how I like it. Okay, partners. No, not
Delete
partners.
delete that partners after that. There you go.
Okay, this is live. Whitetail Rendezvous on a roll, and you know, my show is all about real people and real places, and that's the way we want to do it. No, there's my new
Ooh,
truck, but
why is that page loading funny?
I
Well,
have
that
no idea.
that worries me.
Giveaway. No, wait, it's just we're using a lot of bandwidth, folks, and so uh, we're just not going to go there.
Yeah,
And so,
we'll do
just
that one
between,
offline.
yeah, we'll do
It
that one
it is
offline.
really easy to enter. You just you hop on Instagram, make sure you're following me, and you just go tag. You find any of those giveaway posts that I've posted up. Tag two friends on there. Uh, there's a few folks you got to go like on Instagram, and
Okay, so where
then
do I go? I'm in Instagram. Can you see the page?
yep,
Let's show them how to do it.
uh,
Okay.
living country in the city. That's me right on the top.
Okay, so I'm already following you. Bummer. So I don't. So I can't get in, or no?
No,
We're
if
gonna
you're
go.
already following me, that's fine. So if you see that post in the top right there, you can click on that, the giveaway on the right. So two over.
Okay. Sorry, folks. I'm just flexing.
There we go. So all you got to do is you tag two friends in that post.
I got to do this. Sorry. Athlete. Fit the hunt. Okay, that's as easy as.
um, well, so you don't want to hashtag them. You want to make sure you tag their actual profile. So you want to do an at symbol beforehand.
Sorry.
No worries. Whoop.
Whoa. How
Ooh,
did we get
you
there?
just scrolled through a bunch of posts. I think that was weird.
That was really weird.
I've never seen it do that before.
You're messing with Bruce. We should get Bruce on this show. I
There we
don't know
go.
why.
Oh, well, so it's on. That's actually tagged on the wrong post now.
Hey, folks, we're gonna stop this foolishness. It's not
when
that
when
bad.
the when the computers are not acting weird, then it's really easy to enter. But yeah, pretty much you
Oh,
go
you
in, you
do
tag two friends on that
right.
post. Um, you make sure you're liking all the people on that list, and then you just head on over to livingcountryinthecity.com slash 2K. There's a little entry form. All it does is ask for your name, your email address. There's some ways to get bonus entries into the competition. So rather than just one single entry, you can do a couple of things. There's a list there of how you can get extra entries for that. But yeah, check it out. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We're getting up there. I'm just about to pass the 1,000 follower mark, so we're halfway there.
Okay, and Whitetail Roundup is gonna pony up with a hat. So he's also gonna get a hat, so you can put that up on the site. Whitetail Rendezvous hat for when he hits 2K. So if you give a rip about my hat, you can get one by get him to 2K. How's that?
Sounds good. I will add that to the list.
Hey, on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous podcast, heard throughout North America by we're over 140,000 listeners. So, thank you, Sam Ayres, for being on Whitetail Rendezvous.
I appreciate you having me on, Bruce. We'll have to do this again. It was a lot of fun.
On the next episode, we're going to visit with Kobe Smith. Now, Kobe worked for Alps Outdoors, and he's going to tell us about the development of all their product line for any type of hunter, from whitetails to turkeys to elk to sheep, all types of hunters that they serve with their products. He's very passionate about whitetail. He's a big whitetail hunter himself, and he's going to share some of his tips, techniques, and secrets about hunting whitetail deer with Alps brands.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn,